Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome. It's very good to be here with you. Our session over the next hour will be quite interactive. Although I do have a bit of knowledge in this diversity space, I'm always very conscious of the audience. As lawyers, you know so much more about the legal industry than I do. But obviously when we're talking about unconscious bias, we're really going to look for ways to make this real for you and perhaps some of the issues you're grappling with. One of the big things when we work with law firms is that there's been a greater focus around diversity more generally over the last couple of years, and predominantly about gender diversity. I mean, often when we come into forums and people say, oh, yep, here's someone who's going to talk about diversity, people often say, oh, yep, diversity, that'll be all about gender diversity, which is code for women. And therefore, if I'm a bloke, that's that stuff I may not be necessarily interested, or maybe that's something I don't need to attend. So firstly, great that we've got such a gender balanced group of people attending today. And in fact, what we're going to see is that diversity more broadly encompasses so many more things than just gender diversity. And unconscious bias is well beyond just gender. There's unconscious biases that impact our decision making on in many ways. And unconscious bias is essentially a term about biases. It's biases, preferences, assumptions that we all make, but we may not be aware of them. One of the things that in law firms, in organisations, there's been a strong focus on what we call inherent diversity or identity diversity, and it's done it again, my little slide. It doesn't want to stay there. You know what? I'll leave that there. Identity diversity, so gender or age or culture. We've all been talking about that, but increasingly, a lot more organisations are really looking at acquired diversity, the diversity that we all have because of the different experiences that we bring. And that's quite a strategic shift in the whole focus around HR and diversity. And it's becoming a bigger focus. This was something that I saw, in fact, at a law firm conference not so long ago, and some of you may be well aware of this work, the VIC consulting work, showing that traditional firms have really focused around hourly rates and had full-time lawyers. Increasingly, with the whole disruption in the industry, flexibility is suddenly right up there on the radar. And so that just means a whole different way of working. And there's plenty of biases around and assumptions about flexible workers. So part of kind of being an inclusive leader these days is really being tuned in. This is the first time in corporate history we have 4 generations in the workplace. So kind of being tuned into those different needs is very important. At the same time, we can stereotype very easily, and that's essentially stigma. And stigma can be another word for bias. If in the workplace in Australia, not even just in law firms, but more broadly, is there a bias around disability, positive or negative? What do you reckon? Call it out? Negative, yeah. Not what it should be, but what it is. And as we start to talk and unravel some of these biases, we can really see some benefits to people who work in law firms, to the law firms themselves, and in terms of overall performance. So bear with me in terms of we're looking at diversity, but we're also going to be making some connections to law firms and why this is important to be looking at these types of issues.